Okay, so at this point, you guys should know the drill. I'm going to be recommending 3 animes for you guys to watch. I try to switch it up here and there just in case you're into different genres. But yeah, without further ado, let's get on with the video. But before that, please remember to like and subscribe. So the first anime I'm going to talk about and recommend is Roll Over and Die. This is a dark fantasy story about a weak girl named Flum who is forced into a hero's party even though she has terrible stats and no real combat ability. And in the first episode, she is constantly abused, insulted, and treated like useless garbage by her teammates, especially the hero, until they finally betray her completely by selling her into slavery and leaving her to die in a monster-filled dungeon where she suffers horribly and is nearly killed. But at her lowest point, she discovers a cursed sword that gives her overwhelming power at the cost of intense pain and slowly destroying her body. With this new power, she barely survives, escapes, and is mentally changed by the trauma that she has just experienced, becoming more cold, determined, and willing to fight back against the world that betrayed her. And as the story continues, she rescues a slave girl named Milkit who becomes her first real friend and emotional support, and together they travel while Flum learns to control her cursed abilities, fights monsters, and begins taking revenge on the people who ruined her life, while also uncovering dark secrets about the kingdom, the hero system, and why she was treated as a disposable in the first place. And the overall series focuses on her transformation from a weak, broken victim into a powerful but sacred survivor who struggles between holding onto her humanity. So the plot itself isn't actually that original. It is pretty common trope with, a character being casted aside as weak, and then they go on this sort of journey, and during that journey you find out, oh, they actually are strong or have power. It's very, very common trope. But this anime itself, even though, it's not original, I did actually enjoy it and I do really like it. And the only different thing about this versus other series is I would say that this character is a female lead as opposed to a male lead. Like, let's say Solo Leveling, for instance, has a plot sort of similar to this as well. But, this one has like a female lead, which is interesting. So the next anime I'm going to talk about and recommend is the Quintessential Quintuplets. That's pretty hard to pronounce, but I think I got it right. This is a romantic comedy about a poor but extremely smart high school student who desperately needs money. And in the first episode, he gets a job offer to tutor 5 rich sisters who are all failing school. And they actually all go to the same school, and he didn't even know that they were all related until he had to tutor them. But when he meets them, he realizes they all hate studying and immediately reject them, especially one sister who argues with him and refuses his help, and he quickly learns that all 5 sisters have different personalities, but they all share the same face because they're identical quintuplets. And none of them respect him at first, making his job extremely difficult, but as the series continues, he slowly earns their trust by helping them with their personal problems, supporting them, and refusing to give up on them, even when they try to insult or even sabotage him. There's even this really funny scene where he first tries to tutor them, and then one of the sisters actually drugs him, and then he wakes up like, where am I? So yeah, they really did try to sabotage him at first. And over time, each sister develops feelings for him in different ways, turning the story into both a romance and mystery, because the anime shows that eventually, and this is kind of a spoiler alert, but it happens in the anime itself, but eventually, there will be a winner. So he does actually marry one of the sisters, but there is also a harem aspect to it as well, because they do all kind of fall in love with him in some way, in one way or the other. And I mean all of them, which is, that's kind of like the harem aspect. But this is by and no means the traditional harem anime. And I did not think that I would actually like this anime at first at all because of that harem tag. I'm not a fan of harem anime at all, but this kind of does it right because it's not like, he's dating all of them at the same time or anything like that. It's really just the comedy aspect of it, and it does have like a traditional romance aspect. So I kind of do feel like it is a bit misleading, because that's why I avoided watching it for so long. But it did have good reviews, and I finally did check it out, and I'm like, okay, it is pretty good. And the final anime I'm going to recommend is Sentenced to Be a Hero. Now with this anime, it's pretty much the most popular anime of the season. So, I'd be really surprised if you haven't heard of this anime or actually begun watching it by now, because there's a lot of people who have talked about it. A lot of people think it's one of those series, like, Solo Leveling was, like My Hero was, like Demon Slayer was. So it has a lot of buzz. Sentenced to Be a Hero is a dark fantasy story about criminals who are given a choice: be executed for their sins or magically bond into military service to fight demons on the front lines. And in the first episode, we follow the main character, who's a former knight who has betrayed and been falsely accused, and he is dragged in chains and receive his sentence. Brutal penal unit where survival is not guaranteed, and he is enforced through magical contracts, and he quickly learns that these condemned soldiers are treated as expandable weapons thrown into deadly battles against monstrous enemies, while the kingdom hides its corruptions behind the idea of justice. And the main character basically starts to uncover the truth about, the corruption that goes on, and he struggles on whether he should fight for a kingdom that betrayed him, or if he should use chaos of war to destroy it within. And it leaves you with the question on whether someone labeled a criminal can still choose to become a true hero when the entire world has already decided they are disposable. So I don't really have much to say about this anime besides the fact that yes, it is good. The animation is good, the story is good, and it has a lot of action scenes. If you're really into this anime with a bunch of action scenes, a lot going on, then yeah, I think that you would definitely enjoy this anime. And not to mention the world building itself, it really has all of that. It is one of those animes so far, but yeah, it is one of those anime, and the first season is almost over by now. I think they're like at episode 7, so it'll wrap. I'm not sure how many episodes it has, if it's gonna be 12 or 24, but hopefully, we get new seasons often and we don't have to wait that long. And that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Remember to like, subscribe. Thanks for watching.
Lights are lit and they're sweet.